Hi, so I'm going to do a walkthrough of assignment number 7 from the repl.it assignments. That was one that several different people voted for, and I think it's got some important concepts to think about. So first, I want to walk through reading the program and predicting what it's going to do, and then we'll look at the challenge assignments that are below it. So first, you see it says import turtle and T1 equals turtle.turtle. Those are the boilerplate pieces of all the programs that we've written so far in order to bring in the commands that allow the turtle to walk around the screen and then to create a particular turtle that we're calling T1. And then I see that the pen color is set to red. So I'm going to want, obviously it's going to draw something that's red. And then it says for I in range 10. So it's going to repeat something 10 times. What is it going to repeat 10 times? It's going to go forward by 50 and then turn right 90 degrees. So I'm going to have a bunch of 90-degree turns in between forwards. So this sounds squarish. So I know that it starts out facing to the right. So it's going to go forward by 50. Then it's going to turn 90 degrees to go downwards to the right. And then it's going to go forward 50 again. And then it's going to, it's now done forward, and then it's going to turn right. And then it's going to go repeat a third time, go forward 50, and then turn right. And then it's going to repeat again and go forward 50, and then turn right. And now we can't see it anymore. So it's going to do this 10 times. So I've done 4 so far. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it turns right at the end. So it's going to be facing to the left that way when it's done. That's where the arrow is going to be. So then we can test that by running it. And how do I stop it from annotating? Run it, and we can see it's drawing this square, and it's repeating 10 times, and it ends up pointing to the left. Perfect. Okay, so we've predicted what it's going to do, and now we've got some extra challenges to do. Let me see if I can erase that. Cool. Good. So let's see the extra challenges. I want to change one line in the program to make each of these drawings. So only one thing needs to be changed. So the first one is I want to make a square where the arrow ends up pointing to the right. Okay. That seems like I want to just make a square, just 4 of those. Let's try that. There, and it's pointing to the right. Okay, so challenge A is just make a square and make it be pointing to the right. So that is the sequence of commands that just makes a square and returns the arrow back to where it started from. Okay, so we've done part A. In order to get credit for the assignment, I should now take a screenshot of that, paste it into my notes, and then comment that what I needed to change was I needed to change the number of times it repeats. It needed to be 4 and not 10. Okay, part B. I have a different shape here, and it gives me a hint of counting the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sides, and it ends up pointing to the right at the end, which I think is probably back where it started from. Okay, so now let's think about what I need to change in this program. Clearly, I need 10 things, not 4, so I'm going to change that back to a 10. But these are not 90-degree turns. They're less than 90 degrees. So I need to make some number that's going to make it close all the way back around again. Let's try a smaller number. Let's try 30. And run it. And okay, that looks okay. No, but it doesn't quite make it all the way around. And it's not because the distances are too short or because it didn't turn enough times. It's because I didn't turn enough to be able to get all the way around. So see how it's facing kind of up to the right? But in order to go all the way around the circle, it needs to go 360 degrees of turns. So how can I think about, okay, if I want to make 10 turns that together add up to 360 degrees of turning, how many do I have to do? That sounds like it's going to be 360 divided by 10. I wrote this as a comment to remind myself what it's doing. Anything after a hashtag, the program ignores, so it's just for you to read. So 360 divided by 10, that's 36. Let's try that. So it's a little bit more of a turn for each one, and see if that gets me the whole decagon. Looking good and closed. Perfect. So it's a 36-degree turn that happens 10 times that gets us all the way around the circle. So then again, I should take a screenshot of this and put it in the notes and then comment that the thing that I needed to do was change that to a 10 so there's 10 sides, and then change the turn from 90 degrees to 36 degrees. Okay, now we've got this last one. Now this one involves a new concept that we haven't really talked about before. You see that what's happening is that the lengths of those sides are changing. So I'm still doing the same basic thing I started with. I've got some number of things. I'm going to go forward and then turn, go forward and then turn, go forward and then turn a bunch of times. How many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Huh, interesting. There's 9 sides. I'm going to leave this as 10 for the moment. But the length keeps changing. It's not the same distance every time. And all the turns are 90. Those are all right angles. So I need it to not be 50 that I turn each time. I need a different number to turn. Okay, so here is the new thing. This loop, line 7, for I in range 10, is doing 2 things, and we've only talked about one of them so far. The thing that we talked about so far is that makes something happen 10 times. Okay, it makes everything that is in the indented block happen 10 times. But there's another thing that it does that's kind of hidden behind the scenes, and that is it makes a variable called I. So a variable that stores a thing, and the thing that it stores is a number that is in the range up to 10. So actually what that does, let me write this as comments, I is going to be 10 different values. The first time through the loop, I is going to be 0. The second time through the loop, I is going to be 1. Then it's going to be 2 on the third try, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9. And it's going to stop at 9. Now this is a confusing thing. Most programming languages start counting at 0. So if you want something to happen 10 times, you're talking about the numbers 0 up through 9, not through 10. That's a choice that many programming languages have made, and it's a confusing thing that you just kind of have to remember. They start counting at 0. So that variable is like a placeholder for a thing that keeps getting bigger as the program repeats itself, as the loop repeats itself. So I'm just going to give you the answer and talk about why it makes sense, and write this as 50 times I. So let's think about what 50 times I is. The very first time through the loop, I is 0, and 50 times I is going to be 0. So it's not going to go forward, but it is going to turn. So the arrow starts right here, pointed to the right. It's not going to move because I is 0, and then it's going to turn right 90 degrees, so it's going to be facing downwards. That's why that first line is downwards. Now we repeat the loop. We come back up again. The I changes to be 1. And then we do these 2 steps. Forward 50 times 1. Well, that's forward 50. So it goes forward 50. And then it turns right 90. So it's going to be facing to the right there. And now we repeat the loop another time. So the I becomes 2. The I becomes 2. That means we're going to go forward 50 times 2 is 100. Forward 100. And then we turn right 90. And then the I becomes 3 and we repeat another time, we have 50 times 3 is 150, so we go forward 150, and then we turn right 90 to face to the right. This is going to keep going, and it keeps getting bigger because each time through the loop, the I gets bigger by 1, so you're adding 1 more 50 to that step. Let's check to make sure this does it. Run. We go forward, 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 forward turn, forward turn, forward turn, and then turn right at the end and stop. And that is the whole program. Okay, so then again, to get credit for it, you should take a screenshot of that and then explain what's happening with I. The I changes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 all the way up to 9, and then we're using that to control the length of the side in there. All right, thanks. Let me know if you have any questions about this, and I'll see you soon.